Something about the West Coast.
Shh, don't tell nobody.
Welcome to Black and the Black Times Infinity. I'm your host, Cthulhu's Prodigy. We have Blue, Kronos, Old Ninja, and Stitch with us, and our special guest, Kamau Bell. What's up, fam?
Man, I am so high. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this. It's just hanging
Damn!
Howard and Stephanie, man.
No! You are awesome.
Anyway, red, teal, and orange. I'm real interested in that.
Oh, damn.
So you're in Stephanie's DMs also.
Starting out the show with heat.
Yeah, man, somebody be checking up on us.
Yeah. So, first of all, we are so appreciative of you coming on here with us. Obviously, our listeners know you from Totally Biased. You had your amazing stand-up show. You're a comedian extraordinaire. I actually saw your show, Ending Racism, in about an hour in San Francisco about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. So it was impressive as hell.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. I heard you guys saying all those nice things about me after, so I feel like I got a high standard to live up to since apparently something happened the other day.
Well, you're the reason you're going to make up for all the shit that happened last night.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're just like going from 0 to 100 with you.
Yeah. This is our comeback episode.
Yeah.
Like the Obama after George W. Bush.
Oh, there you go.
Bouncing back.
Let's jump right in.
All right.
First question we had for you. I'm just gonna take the wheel. So I know you're not a huge fan of hip hop, but I wanted to get your take on what music do you like? You know,
That's just why you gotta put me in that corner? Anyway, I know you're not really black. I know you just pretend black with your white wife. Anyway,
Hey, some of us in the same boat. So.
Yeah, we all got white girls on the side.
okay, on the side.
A wife down to one.
Yeah. So
It's funny you say that. I was just listening to Kendrick's album this morning. So
Okay.
whatever, I just like to, whenever hip hop conversations come up, I just like to sort of exclude myself from the deep cut knowledge. Like I grew up with hip hop. I know all the hits. Like I'm not that black guy.
You're hip to the
But
game.
I can't quote chapter and verse. You know what I mean? So
I got you.
that's why I like to. And also, I did when I came to music. I came through a friend of mine who was like a white guy who was deep into jazz and rock. So that's how I came through. But I ended up in a black place, Living Color, Fishbone, 24/75, Rage Against the Machine. So I ended up in a black land, just a black suburb of hip hop.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same way. I'm not like a huge fan of hip hop. I mean,
Yes.
especially right now, it's kind of most of it is shit. But Kendrick, yeah, when he came out with his new album, it was great. And even his previous albums were really good. So I listen to more metal than anything. So
Yeah. Okay. Phew. I was starting.
yeah. It's funny because Kronos goes to like metal concerts, and I'm like, dude, are you gonna be all right, bro? He's like, no, I'll be fine.
yeah, they
I'm
keep
like,
me safe. I'm like that one. I'm like a unicorn there. Everybody respects me. They're just like, all right, it's cool. We've got one black guy. I got the quota. You know?
Yeah.
I know I saw Ozzy Osbourne live in San Jose.
Oh, nice.
That was
Really?
fucking great.
Yeah.
I got high as fuck because there was just nothing but fools down there smoking.
right on.
I mean, the sad part is like when I go see Living Color or Fishbone, and you're still one of the only black people there.
Yep.
There's more black people on stage than out here in the crowd.
Go
So I on Wiki it shows that you were born in Palo Alto. Like how was it growing up in Palo Alto back in the day?
I didn't actually grow up in Palo Alto. I was born out there, and then we moved very soon after I was born. So I didn't. It's only when I moved back to California that I remembered that I was born out here because I didn't grow up out here at all. I grew up mostly in Indianapolis and Chicago and Boston and Alabama.
Okay.
Because I'm from East Palo Alto, which is right across the freeway. So I thought maybe we might have ran across each other.
No.
Be a lost cousin.
See, we did. Apparently, my mom did live in East Palo Alto, so that's where I was living when I was a baby. But I can't tell you. I can't tell you about the streets of East Palo Alto.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to either. I mean, it's not a great place.
I've heard it was quite black.
Back then, now it's not that way.
Yeah, it is
Living in all those places that you just said, like, can you give us a little bit of like life experiences that you got from each one of those places? Because that's a really big sort of mixture of different cultures and places around the U.S. that you've been.
I mean, I think that it is good because those are a lot. Like you said, there's a lot of different places. The one thing I think I came out of is that is no condescension for the South. Like, I think everybody who lives outside of the South has a lot of condescension for the South without ever being there. And it's not that the South is perfect, but I just feel like that when people really condescend to the South, I'm like, oh, you've never been there, is what you're saying. And so I think that's the big thing, is that people like to really, especially out West too, like, oh, the South. I'm like, oh, you mean where the food is delicious and everybody's like, so and so I think that's the big thing. But like at Boston, like all these places are so different, but it does make me feel like I travel a lot, and I'm used to sort of dropping into places and going, what's the deal here? Which corner of town should I not go to? I'm used to sort of having to look into places really quickly and figure out what's going on.
Interesting. Yeah, it's funny because Old Ninja here and Prodigy, we both have been to the South. We both went to HBCUs, and we're from the West Coast, so it was definitely different coming from the West and going to the South and comparing these two different areas of the U.S. It definitely is different.
I think it's funny for me because the people in the South can ask the same question as people not in the South, but because of what the South is historically, it means something different. Like it's funny, I was in the South one time. I used to have dreadlocks, really long dreadlocks, and I went to a Krispy Kreme, like you do. And this white woman behind the counter was like looking at my hair like, oh my God, can I touch it? And I was like, but here's why I was like, yeah, I guess, because you probably never touched a black person. It's not going to burn you, or it's not going to, you're not going to, Jesus won't forsake you. So I was like, yeah, give it a shot. Also, I'll take some free donuts.
Yeah. Either that or your phone number.
But then in Danville, this woman was like, your hair, can I touch it? I was like, no, white lady, no.
You're just being racist.
That's on you. That's on you.
It's funny because when I went to Japan, I kind of ran into that same situation. Like Asian people just wanted to touch my hair. Like they don't want to ask me where I was from or anything. They just wanted to touch my hair because it was just totally different than what they've used to seeing.
Yeah,
it's funny. I was just outside. Was doing a thing for CNN yesterday, and I interviewed Davey D. And 3 women from the Philippines, walked up and wanted pictures with us. And I think it was just because look at black people. That was yesterday in San Francisco. So.
Wow, that's awkward. Because there's lots of Filipinos here in the Bay Area. That's odd.
I know, but I think that I feel like they had just gotten here, or they were just visit. They hadn't connected with the community for the Filipinos people. We're all quite good with the black people.
That's why I like living here in the Bay, because there's so many different cultures and ethnicities are all in one place. You don't have to look very far to see somebody that looks different from you.
You just like lumpia.
That I do.
Yeah. Lumpia is good. So Old Ninja here, I got a question for you. So how did you get into comedy?
I was always a fan. The first 2 things I think I fell in love with in life was comic books and comedy. So once I found out that being Spider-Man wasn't actually a thing you could grow up to be, comedy comics were always superheroes to me. Eddie Murphy, the artist formerly known as Bill Cosby. I was always a fan of those 2, and so it just was something I always wanted to do. But then you get to the age where you're like, oh, I can actually try it in an open mic. But yeah, I've always been a fan. I remember seeing Seinfeld on the Tonight Show back in the day. I just remember it was just always something I thought, as an only child, I think it was something connected to it too. Everybody looks at you and thinks you're great. I got to get into that.
Yeah. So you mentioned some of these comedians. I take it those are some big influence. Jerry Seinfeld, the artist formerly known as Bill Cosby. Anyone else that helped influence you for your act?
Well, yeah, those are the guys when I was a fan of comedy as a kid and a teenager. But then as I got into comedy, certainly Chris Rock. I feel really lucky to have seen Dave Chappelle do those crazy 5-hour sets. I've seen him at the Punchline several times. Nice. I got to be there right when he got back from South Africa, when he was really telling the tale.
Yeah.
And I saw him do hours and hours of comedy. I'm like, this is the best. Forget comedy. This is the best of anything anybody's ever seen. And, all that stuff exists. He recorded all of it, but it doesn't, it's not, I don't know if it's ever going to come out. I think he's going to Tupac himself and just release an album after he dies, quote unquote, dies.
With me, Hail Mary.
So, and then obviously Chris Rock, Bring the Pain was my moon landing that changed my life.
Oh, yes.
And then Bill Hicks is probably my favorite comedian.
Oh, nice.
That was the guy who was like, oh, you can have opinions and explain them to people and be funny? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, you also mentioned, obviously, superheroes growing up, and we are huge fans of all things comics. Tell us about some of your influences when it comes to superheroes and comics. Are you Marvel, DC? What are you?
I'm 90% Marvel, and then I mean, everybody's Batman.
My man.
Marvel should just let DC just let Marvel buy Batman. I just feel like he just fits in better there. It got quiet.
Yeah, we were like.
And then weirdly, I was also like weirdly a Green Lantern fan, not the black one, the regular one.
So Hal Jordan versus Jon Stewart.
Yeah, I mean, Jon Stewart's not a fully developed character. Like, I mean, I haven't read it in years, but back then when I was reading, I was like, they just painted this character black. He does not feel black in any sort of like, and I'm saying that as a guy who's not a fan of hip hop. I was like, like there was just, I remember there was some weird like, it's just they didn't know how to make it feel culturally relevant. And so I was never a huge fan of his. Although I think that's much like Ta-Nehisi Coates is like taking over the Black Panther. I feel like I'd like to get big enough to reinvent the Jon Stewart Green Lantern. That would be one of my goals.
He did slide in the DMs of Hawk Girl. I did like that in Justice League.
That was the animated series. So
and they had a kid.
And they supposedly had.
I haven't checked in a while, so please don't let me blaspheme on.
No, you're good.
No, I think actually what you brought up was kind of true. I think when he first came on the scene, they didn't know how to do his backstory, and later on, they really developed the character a lot better. A lot of people prefer him over Hal Jordan because a lot of people felt like Hal Jordan fell off. Some people think that they're equal now. So if you went back, I think, and started reading, you might see that Jon Stewart's probably a pretty good character.
I would. Every time. I mean, I've really fallen off the comic book thing because I have 2 kids and I work a lot. And every time there's a comic book store right around the corner from my house, and every time I walk in there, I'm like, if I really invest in this, I think something's going to have to suffer, and it would probably be being a father. Kids, I'm too busy. I got to catch up on a lot of back issues.
Yeah.
I have this. The dream is that if I ever hit that lottery ticket of show business where you're like, play the donkey in a movie for 5 movies, and then my comic book collection will start to pick up again.
I mean, once your kids get older, you can get them into comics, and that's what I do with my daughter. She's 13 now, and I got her.
Oh, there you go.
She's a huge Harley Quinn fan, so
nice. Speaking of kids, though, so I saw on like your website, it looks like you have a whole lot of praise and admiration for Doc McStuffins.
Yes, I do.
So tell us a little about that. I mean, some people who don't have kids probably aren't familiar with how amazing this character in cartoon is.
That still sounds like a porn name to me. Every time I hear it. It's not a porn name. It's a kid's show.
He did.
Thanks.
Turn off that goddamn TV.
I mean, for me, when we had our daughter, our oldest daughter was around like the age of like 2 when she started to watch TV. This show just sort of appeared out of nowhere. And I was very aware that like, it was like, I felt like, is this written for my family? I mean, forget if it's a cartoon, forget it's for kids. Just if describing the show, it's a show about a little black girl who's a doctor for her stuffed animals and toys.
Yep.
And so first of all, you got a little black girl who's a doctor. Boom! Did I blow your mind? And then her mom on the show is also a doctor. And so the mom her mom's like, so you got 2 black women doctors on a TV show that's not written by Shonda Rhimes. And then her dad is just this guy who they haven't really decided if he has a job. He just cuts vegetables all the time that he grows in the garden. And yet, unlike the Jon Stewart Green Lantern, it feels like a black show. Like it doesn't feel like, even though nobody's listening to hip hop that often, it feels like.
So it's like you're trying to say it's an animated The Cosby Show.
Yes, you got to bringing that up.
I had to though because it was too good.
I think the dad. My assumption is that he's like a stay-at-home dad.
Well, yeah, I think so, but I feel like they've left it open enough just in case they decide something, because he's never explicitly said it. He's just always around. Like, I feel like they could eventually go into some room where it's like, no, I'm also, I don't know what he'd be doing, but I feel like there's.
Chef.
Yeah,
I feel like it's like a good comic book. It's left enough on the table so they can keep reinventing it if they want to.
But I mean, hey, if your kid is a doctor, I mean, why are you going to work? Be a stay-at-home dad too.
Stuffed animals don't pay that much. Actually.
Oh yeah.
At least he's not going out for menthols. I mean, as long as that's not in the cartoon, I'm happy.
Well, it's just because, and even as an adult, I mean, I have kids, so I watch a lot of kids TV. But it's actually just. I mean, certainly I'm not recommending people watch it who don't have kids, but I am saying that, like, as a person with kids, there's a lot of kids shows that are horrible and are hard to watch, and I'm not trying to talk about Dora the Explorer too much.
Oh, shots fired.
I mean, Dora's a good show. It's written exactly for kids, whereas Doc is like, it takes into the fact that you're gonna have to watch this show 9 times because of streaming. So let's at least make it entertaining. So yeah, I think I wrote that blog about it. I think it's one of the greatest shows on TV. Forget just talking about as a kid show. I think it's one of the greatest shows on TV and one of the most important shows on TV because my daughter grows up not thinking that black female doctor is weird.
Yeah. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so for me, I'm just like, keep going, Doc McStuffins. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it.
That's awesome.
And it's funny because she's not as into it anymore, but I'm still like, there's
You have it DVR'd. You're like, wait, kids are to bed. It's time for
wait, go watch the new episode. Come on.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said that because I have like my god niece. She grew up watching Doc McStuffins, and she's like Hispanic, but she has like blonde hair and like light eyes. But she loves Doc McStuffins, and she didn't care what she looked like. She wanted to be Doc McStuffins for Halloween, and she did it. She wanted to like get the stethoscope and listen to everybody's heart and stuff because she loved the character, and she didn't care what she looked like. She just wanted to be just like her.
But not in blackface, so.
No, not in blackface. Well, actually, yeah, she kind of did. I mean, she did, but her mom's like, no, you can't do that. We'll get you the outfit. You can run around with the little satchel and stuff, but you can't do the blackface.
Innocent racism. That's great.
Kids don't see color. That's what it is.
Yeah, she did.
Well, then why she want to go as blackface then?
Yeah, well, she literally wanted to take it, she wanted to go method on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You never go
Go ahead,
forward.
Kronos. Get in here.
And look, but the good thing about that is then you get to have the blackface discussion with your kid when they're like 4 as opposed to when they're 17 and in college.
Yeah.
Exactly. After they post it on social media and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. After it's too late.
Yeah.
So actually, I wanted to ask you a question about Totally Biased. So, what was your overall experience? Was it positive or negative with that show? Because it was weird to me to have the show was great, but the channel it was on was kind of weird, and it wasn't really like a late night show.
I think I learned a lot from that show. I feel like when I talk about it, I feel like people got to watch me get like an associate's degree in television production over the 2 years of that show. Because I had never done that much TV stuff before. So I really was learning on my feet. And so when I think about it, I think about all the times I was like, man, if we could have done that differently, I wish I'd known better. Or I wish, there's a lot of that I look back on and go, if I could do it over again, first of all, I wouldn't do it. But if I could, but I would, there's certainly things I would change about it. But also I feel like it was just what it was. And I really appreciate the fact that since it's been gone, like pretty quickly after it was canceled, it became a thing that people started to profess their love and how much it meant to them. And so I really feel great that I get to be associated with something like that because a lot of shows come and go and people aren't even glad they're gone. Didn't notice that they were there,
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
was.
for the rest of my career, I get to be associated with that thing. And it was a special thing, but it was also super hard and it was super stressful because when it was 5 days a week, it just became super stressful on my family. We were living in New York and just a lot of things that were like, it's not, for me, it wasn't really a livable situation. So not to say I was glad when it was canceled, but it was like this big, like, whoo! Like it was, as I've said before, because when it became a daily show, I felt like it became like a meat grinder. And sometimes the material is the meat, but if there's no material for the meat grinder, then I just had to put myself into the meat grinder.
Yeah.
So it was just I think I feel like a friend of mine compared it to, the Velvet Underground. Like only 10,000 people bought the album, but everybody went out and started a band. And I feel like a lot of people who like Totally Biased have gone out to do other things. And we introduced a lot of great comedians who are friends of mine to the world. And I feel really proud about that fact. So, I feel like, as a kid, I grew up hearing a lot of African-American folktales, and now I get to be an African-American folktale.
Oh, that's pretty awome. Yeah.
That's good shit.
I missed that Man on the Street. That was like that's the greatest.
Well, that's the greatest thing about the new show is basically that. It's me talking to people. The show on CNN, plug.
That's what I was leading you into.
United Shades of America is me going around the country, meeting people and talking to people. So it's basically I couldn't have done that show without what I learned from Totally Biased. So I'm happy to. I feel like for people who like that part, we just turned that into a whole show.
So you're gonna be like the Black Anthony Bourdain or what?
Except the food is way worse. And they don't let me sit on the beach talking about stuff as much. I have to get up and move. The first episode, the pilot episode, we went to the Ku Klux Klan. I can't really brag about their food. So.
Wow.
They don't even season chicken. I mean, white folks don't season chicken.
But wait.
Well, this is real. Like when we did the episode with the Klan, and first of all, it was scary.
Damn.
And we showed up in the middle of the forest where they were about to burn a cross.
Oh, God
damn.
Because I'll do anything for healthcare. And so we show up in the forest, and there's like a phalanx of like 8 or 9 of them, all robed up, and as they call it, robing up. And I learned a lot of things. And this one guy hands me like a plastic bag with something in it, and it was right around the time of the Trayvon story and the Michael Brown. Like there was all, and it was Skittles and a bottle of grape soda.
Oh,
God
damn!
How'd you handle that?
Well, the funny thing was, I was like, we had been filming, then we stopped, and then he handed it to us, the funny thing I thought, why didn't you do this on camera?
Man.
This is the most ignorant, stupid, racist thing ever, and I wish we'd caught it on film.
Oh my God. I can't even wrap my head around that.
Yeah, that was his, the thing I did do is I didn't act, fazed by it. I wasn't going to be like, oh, Lord, how could you? I was just like, so I basically was like, oh, you got jokes. Because the thing I knew is that if I look like I'm being, affected by this in a negative way, then they're going to feel like they won. And my whole thing was I'm going to walk out of this having been funny, having made you laugh, having made you question how much you hate black people because you actually kind of like me, and then I get to go home, but you still got to live in Kentucky.
Yes.
That's the perfect
and
revenge.
not even good Kentucky, like the hills, the backwoods of Kentucky.
Thanks for the Skittles.
That's an awesome story. Wait, now, but the podcast isn't going anywhere, though, right? You still doing that with Kevin? And
yeah, no, we just brought our new, we were trying to take a little bit of a break, but I did a couple episodes in the break. But yeah, no, the podcast, we're committed through the end of all the Denzel Washington movies. We're 2/3 of the way through, but then we've started to review movies twice, and it's just clear that because it's picked up steam, we can go back and sort of re-review movies and bring new guests on who want to talk about movies. Everybody wants to talk about The Equalizer, so yeah, come back on and talk about The Equalizer. So it's it's not going anywhere. I don't know how far it's gonna go. I just don't, because it's sort of it's become its own train that moves out of the station. But people keep approaching us. India Re is on today's episode. Yeah, it's just who planned that? Yes, we'll do this Denzel Washington podcast and talk to India Re about Remember the Titans. That was not in the plan. I mean,
awesome.
By the time we got to Ava DuVernay and then Spike Lee, it was this is its own thing. This is bigger than us, you know. As Denzel Washington is bigger than all of us, but just to me, it was. It'll certainly keep going. I mean, we would do more with it if we had time, but Kevin is working on the Last Week Tonight plantation, and they don't take many breaks. So,
So have you guys done a show for Virtuosity yet with Parker Barnes?
No, we haven't.
He showed the future.
There's certain movies, Denzel movies, that people love to want to talk. That's one of them. People are like, when are you gonna do that Virtuosity episode? I'm like, I think it can wait. We still haven't done the Malcolm X episode. Slow down.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you do a hurricane one as well?
We did do a hurricane one.
All right. I missed that one.
We did that with Dave Zirin, the political sports reporter. Because that's the thing now is we're trying to find people who match up good with the episodes, who can also talk about where they we did the Siege. Kevin was gone. I did the Siege with the women from the podcast Good Muslim, Bad Muslim, because it's hard to talk about the Siege without also talking about how fucked up it is.
Yeah. And then you had Alice Wong on last time with the Bone Collector. I thought that was interesting when she brought up Cyborg, the comic book character, being disabled. I was blew my mind. I was never even considered that at all.
No, I was literally one of those moments where I was I might have to stop and take a knee. I just wasn't. Of course he's disabled, but you just don't think of it. He's not disabled. He's better. You know what I mean? It's not. You don't think of it that way. And that was totally. I was really happy that people responded to that episode because. We really did. The podcast is about Denzel Washington, but that was actively taking it another way, sort of spinning it off the thing about he played a disabled person. How well did he do? What's the thought? What's going on with disabled people in show business? And so I was really happy. People responded real well to it. I was really proud of the Denzels because sometimes they will let us know when they're not happy. And so I was really scared that they're gonna be like, who is this? People responded well to it.
Well, yeah, and the point about having non-disabled people playing disabled people in movies, I was just why don't you have somebody actually disabled to play a disabled person? It's people get mad when somebody does blackface, so
yeah.
We're about to see Joseph Fiennes do Michael Jackson face
appearance.
We are.
Yes, we mentioned that on the podcast yesterday. I had mentioned you remember when Flex did Michael Jackson? That was actually a really horrible job he did.
Wait, when who did it?
When Flex the comedian, he played Michael Jackson.
It's funny
He's speechless.
Yeah,
I have a lot of love for that movie. I mean, I think that's one of those we call Black people homework on the podcast. I feel like the Jackson miniseries is Black people homework, but not that it means it's all good, but it is Black people.
God damn. Hey, go ahead.
For the Denzel movies, which one do you feel relates to your life? Which one is kind of tells your story that you can relate to?
I'm probably like a man on fire, like a secret killer who's trying to
Shoving bombs up asses.
Which one relates to my life? I mean, I feel like with Denzel, there's so many scenes from his movies that I feel like I've become a bigger fan of some of the movies because of the podcast, just because I've been thinking about it more and seeing it more. And Remember the Titans is a movie I slept on for a long time, and now whenever it's on TV, I'm like, yep, this is what I'm doing now. And maybe
what I said.
Maybe because he's a dad, and maybe because he's fighting the racism fight, and maybe because he never I think the thing about that movie is like that character never loses. Literally, he doesn't lose as a coach, and he doesn't lose in life. And usually, that guy in a movie ends up getting shot and killed at the end. So that movie. I think for some reason, I think maybe it's the dad thing, and also the racism thing. Like, no, I'm not taking no for an answer, and I'm not taking yes for an answer. I'm taking 3 yeses. So I really feel like that's probably the one right now that I think of that when I watch, I feel like the most connected to.
Are we living in right now an age where? Oh,
I guess we're dead.
Yeah, exactly. But are we living in an age right now where we have some of the best diverse casts for both movie and TV with quality work? I'm seeing more and more that I'm actually happy and proud of, from a diversity standpoint. And I just wanted to get your take on that from a historical perspective.
I mean, I think TV is way ahead of Hollywood, because I think TV is cheaper. When Shonda Rhimes would have maybe made 3 movies by now, but she's made thousands of hours of television. You know what I mean? So when you find something that works, they very quickly want to spin it off into more things. I feel like TV is definitely ahead of it. Like, I think it's funny that, like, I don't know the actress's name, but she's the lead in that show Quantico. She's a Bollywood star.
Yeah.
She has a hit show on ABC where every week she gets to play this, Indian American woman or Indian woman who's kicking ass and taking names, but she's a presenter at the Oscars.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean? Like, that to me is like, well, what's the problem here? If she, and she was a star in Bollywood. Bollywood is like 900 times bigger than Hollywood.
They have some ridiculous movies too.
Yeah. I mean, it's I didn't say I sat through any of them.
Their action movies are crazy.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
You go, sir.
Oh, I was saying that actually reminds me of one of Chris Rock's skits where he's talking about how he lives in like this really fancy neighborhood in New Jersey, and he's like I'm this mega comedian star. He's like, my neighbor's just a dentist and everything. Yes. How he's got to do so much, and she's this star in Bollywood, but she's just a presenter in Hollywood.
Would you like to present the Oscar to a white person? Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her for going. I would go if they had called me, but I think it's just clear that I think for me, because I've been thinking about this a little bit, I think what we need to do is stop pretending that movies are the highest level of artistic achievement.
Yes.
Like, I think because the Oscars have some sort of sense of like, it's the Oscar and like it's better than an Emmy and better than a Tony and it's like it's better than a Grammy. It's just another award, and movies are just another form of entertainment. And I think the reason why they're kept so white is because they've convinced us that that's the highest level of entertainment. When really, like, I talked to Ryan Coogler and he was just like, eventually these people are going to die.
It's not even beyond that. It's like, who honestly watches the Oscars? Like, none of my friends really watch, except for like my girlfriend. I mean, she's white, but other than that, like, all my other friends, they don't watch it. Mm-hmm. And then I think what's more important is that it's a well-selling movie. You know what I mean? And that the critics is well received. But I guess getting an award is, to me, I don't get it.
Well, but they've convinced the public as a whole, and I'm a part of this, that like an Oscar is the ultimate thing, even though it's just a matter of perspective. And you can't. 2 things. One, and Spike Lee has talked about this before, and I think it's so great. He Do the Right Thing wasn't nominated for any. Maybe it was nominated for Best Screenplay, but it wasn't nominated for Best Picture or Best Director. That's the same year that Driving Miss Daisy won.
Wow.
Nobody has had a Driving Miss Daisy conversation since the Academy Award that year. And meanwhile, Do the Right Thing is this thing where you put it on and you go, how did he pull this off? It seems so relevant. It still lives. It's a very unique film. It doesn't feel like a lot of other films. Driving Miss Daisy feels like every other film like that. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that we have to stop. So I think on some level, you can't tell me that that Straight Outta Compton isn't an achievement in directing and film. You just can't tell me that. Yeah. You can't. And also, it's not supposed to work. It should have been a Lifetime movie. Like, it doesn't make any sense that it worked. Like, we all saw it coming for a while. Black people were waiting for it. We were supposed to hate that movie. You know what I mean? Like, we were supposed to, and it works. Or Creed. He rebooted the Rocky franchise in a critical and a commercial way. That's not supposed to work. And you're telling me that that's to me, it's like it doesn't make logical sense that those aren't regarded as achievements. So I think the thing we have to do is stop pretending that just because it's nominated, just because it's a movie, that somehow makes it better, first of all. And also that the Oscars, it's just a bunch of old white people's opinions, which, yes, old white people's opinions tend to rule the world, but eventually they'll die.
Eventually they will. New generation will phase in.
Right, well, we want to be cognizant of your time, because we know you said you only had 30 minutes, so we're approaching
chocolate banana.
So anything you want to promote? Give a shout out to? Plug?
Well, certainly. United Shades of America comes out April 24th on CNN, right after Anthony Bourdain. So they gave me that good spot. And also I'm I'm working on a live talk show with KLW. That's also a podcast called Kamau Right Now. And last episode we had Ryan Coogler on. And we've had a lot of good guests. So we've done 2. So the next one is February 18th. It'll be on KLW Radio or KLW.org, and we'll be recording it, and you can come see it live in San Francisco February 18th at the Swedish American Hall. It's basically for people who like Totally Biased. This is more of that thing that you liked, but it's on radio.
Awesome.
And other than that, I'm working on a comedy special that'll hopefully come out sometime in April. So
we might have to squad up and actually come to that show, man.
Yeah.
Because
please do. Please do.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like there's. I can't tell how many of it is. It sounds like there's 42 of you guys. So I can hand out a few free tickets. I don't know if I can hand out for the whole hip hop posse.
We got a mixtape though.
I know. You want me to listen to your demo?
We'll be the only black people there.
San Francisco, we can use every black we can get. And then also, March 17th, we'll be doing it at the Impact Hub in downtown Oakland. So
I think that's where we're going to. Yeah, I think we're going to.
Yeah, March. Yeah, please come through. Yeah, hit me up. I'll let you guys put you on the list.
All right, thank you.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much.
I'm excited.
We appreciate you so much, and keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, and I'd love to come back. This was fun, guys.
All right,
awesome.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Have a good one.
It's just a whole lot more money involved.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool.
Hey.
So this shit is real.
So give me a second. I have to merge you into another chat. So give me 1 second, all right?
Sure.
Hope this works okay.
And thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it, man.
No problem. Glad I could do it.
I was kind of waiting, thinking that this was going to be like a prank, somebody like pulling our chains.
No shit.
How do you know? How do you know it's not a prank?
No, right?
Oh, damn.
We know you must be a really good impressionist then.
Yeah.
Why the hell?
Pretty good at it.
Come on, guys.
Oh, I forgot. No,
We got catfished.
Not
This
again.
is Totally Biased. And stay Totally Biased.
Oh my god.
Man.
Before we get...
Hold on.
Oh.
He might drop for 1 second.
No.
Let me